Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahushai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahushai, Barakatha Yahushai. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Barakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, a well. Peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel. Alright, this lesson I'm going to get into, I was reading Isaiah, and I came across interesting precepts, and I just want to bring them out, make a quick lesson off of it. Okay? Slakia. Alright, so this is Isaiah. I'll start at verse 1. This is Isaiah chapter 49, verse 1. Listen, O isles, unto me, and hearken, ye people from far, that Yahweh hath called from that. Salakia, Yahweh hath called me from the womb. From the bowels of my mother hath he made mention of my name. And he hath made my mouth like a sharp sword. And in the shadow of his hand hath he hid me, and made me a polished shaft. And in his quiver have he hid me, and said unto me, Thou art my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified. Then I said, I have labored in vain, I have spent my strength for naught and in vain. Yet surely my judgment is with Yahweh, and my work with my God. And now saith the Lord, which is, Salakia. And now saith Yahweh, alright, because when it says the Lord like that, it's Yahweh, okay? That's the name of the Father, Yahweh, and the name of the Son is Yahushai, okay? And now saith Yahweh, that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him. Though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of Yahweh, and my God shall be my strength. Okay? Now this is the point right here. And he said, It is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the preserved of Israel. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth. Right. So what is this talking about? Gentiles. What is this talking about? Well, we'll see. Let me just read this real quick, though. Finish with this one. Thus saith Yahweh, the Redeemer of Israel, and his Holy One, to him whom man despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship, because of Yahweh that is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee. So this is talking about Israel. All these are talking about Israel. The Gentiles are Israelites in that. It's pretty clear just from the way it's talking. You can tell. Okay? You can tell whether the Gentiles would be the northern kingdom, or they be Israelites that decide to follow the customs of the heathen. Okay? Whatever the case may be. Alright, so let's go into the word for Gentile. Alright, the word for Gentile, and just to show you, I pressed on it. Isaiah chapter 49, verse 6. The word for Gentile. It says, nation, people, usually of non-Hebrew people, of descendants of Abraham, of Israel, of swarm of locusts, other animals, figurative. Alright? Now here's the thing. Notice how it said, usually of non-Hebrew people. Usually. Okay? That implies, when it says usually, that implies that there's times where it's not talking about heathens and it's talking about somebody else. And who would that be? So the times when it isn't, because it says usually of non-Hebrew people. So what about the times when it isn't? All right. What about some of the times when it isn't talking about heathens? Who is it talking about? Right here. Of Israel. Of Israel. It says usually of non-Hebrew people. Usually. Not always. Not every time. Usually. And then it says, of Israel. So this is talking about Israelites. And you can tell by the way it's wording it, by the context, by everything in it. Okay? And by knowledge of other scriptures, it clearly points to that it's only Israel. Alright, let me put a bookmark here real quick. And we'll go to Salaki about that. All right, we'll go to Tobit 13. This is Tobit chapter 13, verse 3. Confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he has scattered us among them. Okay, that's clear as day. And then let me read verse 5. And he will scourge us for our iniquities, and will have mercy again, and will gather us out of all nations among whom he hath scattered us. Okay, clear. All right, don't even really need to break that down. Okay. And that was in the Apocrypha, and also this is too. First Maccabees 1, verse 11. In those days, or let me start at 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. All right, he was an Edomite. Okay, because the Romans and Greeks were Edomites. But the people that inhabited those lands before them were Japhetic people, but they got pushed out after Alexander, the so-called Great, right? In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built the place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. And later down, you can read this whole chapter, all right? Read Maccabees, First Maccabees 1. Read this whole chapter, because it goes on to tell you how if they didn't forsake their laws, they'd be put to death, okay? So right here, it was their choice to join the heathens and become heathens. And later it was forced. Okay? We can also get this. This is Matthew chapter 10, verse 6. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. All right, Matthew chapter 15, verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Okay, clear. Let's go back to the bookmark. So this right here, verse 6, when it says Gentiles, a light to the Gentiles, this is talking about Israelites. Okay, and it said usually, so that word is usually used for heathens, all right, but in this case it was used for Israelites. Okay, that specific word. Okay, that specific word is found later in the chapter. All right, in verse 22, right here it says Gentiles. It's the same word there. And now we're going to read these two verses, and we're going to decide, based off of what they're saying, if that's heathens or not. Isaiah 49 and 22. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles, and set up my standard to the people. And they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders, and kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. So why did it just say right here that these Gentiles, that you're going to be a light? I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth. But then go on to say the Gentiles are going to be slaves. That's basically what this is going into, them being servants and slaves, okay, to the Israelites. Because this is not the same Gentile. All right, it says usually for non-Hebrew people, and then it later goes on to say of Israel. These Gentiles right here in verse 6 are Israelites, okay? Whatever the circumstance may be, but they are Israelites, okay? Down here in verse 22 and 23, that's talking about heathens. That's the time where it falls under the usual category, the usually, okay? And that's clear, okay? That's clearly talking about slavery. And then we can also actually go to Isaiah 14 it talks about that as well, because sometimes strangers is Israelites and sometimes it may be heathens. I'm not, but I know the strangers usually means Israelites that were born outside the land. Okay? It says, "For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." Right? So that strangers could be talking about heathens, it looks like. All right, but it's talking about putting the heathens in captivity. Okay? Because you remember, like I said, a lot of times when it says strangers, it could be talking about Israelites that are born outside of the land of Israel. Okay, they'd be strangers to that land. All right, it's talking about putting the heathens in slavery. Which you can watch. I've made videos on them going into slavery. You can also go to the realhebrewisraelites.com. It'll most likely have something on that. But it's clear, okay? This is Psalms 149, verse 5. "Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds." Because I said that because, I'm not going to get all the precepts on it. I'll get some of the main heavy hitters that I can remember off the top.